All right, we are live. And what we're looking at. I yesterday came across this one person from A16Z, Anjane Mehta, SFS Renaissance Florence right now. So let's look at Anjane. He's a general partner in A16Z, Board Angel, Open Router AI. I think we looked into Open Router. We got LMArena.ai, Open Platform Community and AI Benchmarking, Sesame. We got Mistral. We aren't hearing anything new from Mistral, which is very interesting. Wait, what is this? We don't know what that is. This is an artistic interpretation of the Golden Gate. Anthropic, BFL, ML Black Forest Labs. Posse of Ubiquity, acquired by Discord. Ubiquity, explore reality together. So this is interesting. Also, TBPN just posted something which was very interesting. This is about Leopold. Morning on today's stream, tool use could make world models sticky. Donald Boat builds a 10K gaming PC via X. Leopold, $1 billion situational awareness. So this is very interesting. Leopold, we read this entire piece. I don't know if we read the entire piece, but we did read Leopold's piece on situational awareness. That was very interesting. And it seems like he has raised an entire hedge fund on top of this thesis, let's say. Security economics, Hydra host, and Vulcan elements. Google DeepMind's Genie theory.
An account that does a weekly newsletter of quotes from earnings calls, and they aggregate a bunch of quotes on AI-driven changes in Google search, reducing referral traffic, and impacting user engagement. So if you're interested in CEOs from last week, the one here, the portion of our traffic that comes from Google search has declined from 52 to 28%.
Interesting.
Another one from the Groupon CEO: Google is significantly changing the behavior of search result pages. What we see is that we have declining traffic. Another one on Google: when Google provides.
Why am I not able to pause this thing?
AI response.
Just refresh. Okay. All right. Don't talk. Breaking. GitHub CEO Thomas Donkey Ashton building GitHub Copilot for the sake of developer happiness. CEO GitHub stepping down to found a new company after leading GitHub through the Copilot era and growing the platform to 150 million plus developers. He's returning to his startup roots. He'll stay through 25, then re-enter the arena as a founder. CEO on the move. I'm leaving GitHub to become a startup founder again with more than 1 billion repos and forks, 150 million plus developers, and Copilot continue to lead the most thriving market in AI with 20 million users and counting. GitHub has never been stronger than it is today. Thank you to Satya Nadella, Julia, and so many countless people, and most importantly, thank you to all Hubbers for the ride of a lifetime. Great run. All right, this is the one I'm looking for. All right, breaking. Ex-OpenAI researcher Leopold Ashton Brenner's Situational Awareness Fund tops 1.5 billion and posts 47% in H1 25. He turned his wild situational awareness essay into one of the fastest growing hedge funds on record. The fund is long the AI supply chain, semiconductors, data centers, and the power grid. Ashton Brenner calls the firm a brain trust on AI built to front-run what he predicts will be AGI by 2027 and the $1 trillion infrastructure build-out that follows. A brain trust on AI built to front-run what he predicts will be AGI by 2027 and the $1 trillion infrastructure build-out that follows. Brain trust on AI. Super Grok. Tell me more, Leopold. Okay, we'll have to go into a new one. We'll go TBPN. And hopefully this is working. Grok. What's up? Is Grok working or not? We don't know if Grok is working. Wow. Réponse rapide. Grok isn't working. Oh no. Alright. Yes, Perplexity is working. Leopold Former. This is so fast. OpenAI researcher capitalized on the widespread attention from his wild situational awareness essay to launch the Situational Awareness Fund, which has become one of the fastest growing hedge funds in history, raising over 1.5 billion within a year. Investments linked to the AI supply chain and the anticipated transformative impact of AGI, mirroring the aggressive scenarios and trend lines described in his essay. Original essay published in June 24 is a 165-page manifesto projecting rapid advances in AI with AGI plausible by 27 and superintelligence soon after. So they are saying AGI comes before superintelligence, which is very interesting, and warning of significant national security implications, global economic shifts, and existential risk for humanity. Ashton Brenner argues that mainstream investors and policymakers underestimate the speed and scale of coming changes, particularly the trillion-dollar clusters of AI compute and the race for national dominance in superintelligence. After being fired from OpenAI superalignment team allegedly over sharing a security-related memo, Ashton Brenner leveraged both his essay's notoriety and his technical credibility to attract anchor investments from high-profile figures like Patrick and John Collison, Daniel Gross. This is crazy. Like, imagine, like, they're all friends, but they know that, hey, Leopold is smart. Leopold can make things happen. So even though he was fired by OpenAI and Sam is our friend, but we believe in Leopold, so we'll invest in him. Daniel Gross and Nat Friedman. Notable not just for its rapid capital accumulation, but for its explicit bet on the AI supply chain. Companies like NVIDIA, TSMC, and other infrastructure providers positioned to benefit from the massive expansion of AI computation described in his writings. 47% returns. And this is first half of 25. Wow. Further amplifying investor interest, the hedge fund's growth is widely seen as emblematic of the larger capital mobilization toward AI-related bets, with billions flowing into strategies that hope to capture value from the acceleration of deep learning and the broader AGI arms race. Instagram. Why do we have Instagram here? Okay. TVPN's Instagram. Got it. With billions flowing into strategies that hope to capture value from the acceleration of deep learning and the broader AGI arms race. Critics and analysts know that Ashton Brenner's approach is high risk and based on technically detailed but speculative projections that AGI and superintelligence are imminent and will reshape industries, labor markets, and geopolitics in ways not yet fully reflected in prices or policy. Nevertheless, the fund's early performance and narrative appeal have positioned Ashton Brenner as a prominent figure bridging technical AI forecasting investments. All right, this is the Dwarkish podcast. Wow. Okay. Dedicated to Ilya Sutskever. While I used to work at OpenAI, all of this is based on publicly available information, my own ideas generated free knowledge or SF gossip. Thank you to many friends for feedback on earlier drafts. Thank you to Joe Ronan for help with graphics and Nick Whittaker for publishing help. Dedicated to Ilya. Wow. Dedicated to Ilya. That is so interesting. Dedicated to Ilya. For posterity. What is that? Hi, I'm Leopold. I recently founded an investment firm focused on AGI with anchor investments from Patrick Collison, John Collison, Nat Friedman, Daniel Gross. Worked on superalignment team at OpenAI. What is this link to? Introducing superalignment. Okay. Summarize, please. In past life, I did research in economic growth at Oxford's Global Priorities Institute. I graduated as valedictorian from Columbia at age 19. Yeah, that is crazy. That is crazy. He graduated valedictorian. Not only he's a valedictorian from Columbia, but at the age of 19. Originally hailed from Germany and now live in the great city of San Francisco, California. My aspiration is to secure the blessings of liberty for our posterity. I am interested in a pretty eclectic mix of things, from First Amendment law to German history to topology. But I'm pretty focused on AI these days. Follow me on Twitter. You can email me here. Oh. Open a new link. 14 June 2024. Okay. Oh, wow. He only writes once in a year. 14 June 24. Then we got 14 December. Oh, wow. Okay. Nobody's on the ball on AG alignment. Okay. OpenAI is launching a superalignment team called by Ilya and Jan Like to solve the technical challenge of aligning future super intelligent AI systems with human intent within 4 years. Wide matter, superintelligence could be transformative but also dangerous, potentially leading to human disempowerment or extinction if misaligned. Current alignment methods like RLHF won't scale because humans can reliably supervise systems much smaller than us. Won't scale because humans can be transformative but also dangerous, potentially leading to human disempowerment or extinction if misaligned. Current alignment methods like RLHF won't scale because humans can't reliably supervise systems much smarter than us. Approach: build a roughly human level automated alignment researcher and use large scale computer to really align more capable systems. 3 pillars: scalable, oversight, and understanding generalization so AI can help evaluate AI on tasks human can easily judge. Okay. Validation via automated red teaming for problematic behaviors and automated interpretability to detect problematic internals. Adversarial testing by deliberately training misaligned models to ensure techniques catch worst case misalignments. Dedicate 20% of OpenAI secured compute over the next 4 years to this effort. Involve. I'm surprised like OpenAI would still have something like this on their website, even if it's not aligned with what they're doing today. Because we don't know if they're still doing this today. Dedicate 20% of OpenAI secured compute over the next 4 years to this effort. Multiple teams beyond the core superalignment group share findings broadly to improve safety across the ecosystem. Recruiting top ML researchers and engineers, even those new to alignment, for research scientists and research engineer roles. OpenAI views this as a tractable ML problem with promising early ideas and improving metrics. Complements ongoing work on current moral safety, misuse, economic disruption, disinformation, bias, addiction, over reliance, and broader governance socio-technical efforts with external. Okay, very interesting. What's the latest? The Wall Street Journal. Oh yeah, this is interesting. All right, August in 2025. All right, so this is from yesterday, so this makes a lot of sense. I just want to see what's the latest here. Oh, 19th March. Wow. Okay. Virtually nobody's pricing in what's coming in AI. Wrote an essay series on the AGI strategic picture from the trend lines in deep learning and counting the OOMs to the international situation and the project. From GPT-4 to AGI, counting the OOMs. From AGI to superintelligence, the intelligence explosion, racing to the $1 trillion cluster. Oh. Lock down the labs, security for AGI. The nation's leading AI labs treat security as an afterthought. Currently, they're basically handing the key secrets for AGI to the CCP on a silver platter. Securing the AGI secrets and weights against the state actor threat will be an immense effort, and we are not on track. Superalignment, reliably controlling AI systems much smarter than we are, is an unsolved technical problem. And while it is a solvable problem, things could easily go off the rails during a rapid intelligence explosion. Managing this will be extremely tense failure, could easily be catastrophic. The free world must prevail. Superintelligence will give a decisive economic and military advantage. China isn't at all out of the game yet. In the race to AGI, the free world's very survival will be at stake. Can we maintain our preeminence over the authoritarian powers, and will we manage to avoid self-destruction along the way? The project, as the race to AGI intensifies, the national security state will get involved. The USG will wake from its slumber, and by 27-28, we will get some form of government AGI project. No startup can handle superintelligence. Somewhere in SCIF, the end game will be on. Parting thoughts. What if we are right? What if we are right? All right, let's look at this one. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is behind a paywall. Can Perplexity go into the paywall? Only the headlines, subhead, and the brief introduction are visible on the page. Here's a concise summary of the visible content on the current WSJ page. The article reports that billions of dollars are flowing into newly launched hedge funds focused on AI-related investments. It highlights Leopold, 23-year-old former OpenAI researcher with no prior professional investing experience, who rapidly raised over 1.5 billion for a hedge fund position as a brain trust on AI. Broader stories of investor interest in AI themed strategies across markets. I guess we'll have to go to TPPN. Let's go to TPPN.
I love it because it's unique. It's
unique.
very unique.
It is unique.
It aligns with this very viral thesis.
Yeah.
And it says exactly 6 months of the year.
Love to see
You may have
saying Julius because he understood who Raoul was. But Raoul was working on a previous company, and Julius was pivot out of that apparently. And he was like, I should have just done it on the basis of like who Raoul was and knew that he would figure something out. But we didn't like that particular business, that particular market. And
great founders are just one pivot away.
Exactly. And so yeah, when you find someone, you gotta let them cook and let them figure it out.
Yeah. Well, you know who else is having fun cooking on the timeline?
He's monitoring the situation professionally now.
Former OpenAI researcher Leopold Aschenbrenner. His fund, Situational Awareness, is up 47% in the first 6 months of the year.
Love to see
You may have first become aware of the podcast he did with Broadcom and the essay that he wrote alongside it. Situational Awareness is probably my favorite name for this type of fund in a long time. It just says so much. It's like, hey, we're aware of the situation, we're monitoring it, and we're trading against the situation.
I like it.
We are monitoring the situation.
But the bar is extremely high. You're going up against Cerberus. You're going up against Ares, the god of war.
Situational awareness.
Or like the ceiling for quality of fund name is so high when you're in the public markets. When it's about VC funds, because they all very silly names.
Blue Owl.
Blue Owl is a great name for a fund, a private credit fund. I mean, Citadel, it's a very strong name. You know, Bridgewater,
Citadel is a really strong name.
So BlackRock.
Blackstone, BlackRock, crazy.
Well, because it's unique.
It is
very unique.
It is unique.
It aligns with this very viral thesis.
Yeah.
It says exactly what you're getting into.
Yep. And it was incredibly accurate. Like when he posted the original situational awareness essay, it was something that was consensus in
Half of this video is getting cut off, but
San Francisco, and
I don't know how to only zoom in this window. I don't know how to do that.
contrary and everywhere else. And so what I loved about this was that there were so many people that were seeing what was going on in San Francisco in AI, and they wound up starting seed funds. And he was like, no, the real alpha is in the public markets, in these like long tail
Trillions of dollars of market cap.
Exactly.
It's going to fluctuate based on AI adoption.
Exactly. So his portfolio is very interesting. It's all deeper in the supply chain. Notably, Nvidia is missing. Maybe that was too consensus, but he's been long a bunch of things. Now there was a little bit of confusion because in the 13F, which was released,
32% year to date count is barely in the conversation. You're trying to put up 47% on $1 billion plus.
it would have been a lot in the fund. Wow, it's crazy. But yeah, so the 13F came out, which is the fund filing showing the position of the hedge fund, showing what they're in. There was a little bit of confusion because Intel was ranked at the top, but that was because it was a call, and when you buy a call, the total value that of the stock that you have the right to purchase is listed. And so if you have the right to purchase $1 billion in Intel stock, that will be listed as $1 billion. But in fact, you will not have actually invested $1 billion in that call, and depending on how far out of the money that is, that can be very, very cheap.
Yeah, and people were questioning, like, hey, did this fund already blow up? Intel's obviously
No, they might have had to write down those calls or get out of position. There's a million things they could do, but there's a bunch of interesting things in here. And so, front page of the Wall Street Journal for Leopold, you'll have to see him at age 23. He emerged last year as a precocious artificial intelligence influencer, which I think sells him way, way short. But he did publish a widely read manifesto, and then he also did a Work Ethic episode, which I think a lot of people saw
If
clips from.
you're an AI researcher now and you do a podcast and it goes a little viral, congrats, you're now
Good influencer. But the influence
You're an influencer.
of that episode is crazy. So he did DoorCash. Most people do DoorCash for like an hour, 2 hours. His episode is over 4 hours long. It's so long. The PDF is 170 pages. He wrote it. It's a multi-part essay series. It's a fantastic episode. It's a fantastic PDF. It's $1 billion PDF, as they say. The PDF that's spawned $1 billion in capital.
$1 billion PDF.
23-year-old with no professional investing experience quickly raised more money for a hedge fund than most pedigree portfolio managers when they strike out on their own. As valuations of Nvidia, OpenAI, and other artificial intelligence companies continue to soar, so do investors in hedge funds hoping to ride the AI wave. Aschenbrenner's San Francisco-based firm, Situational Awareness, now manages more than $1.5 billion. People familiar with the matter said he has described the firm as a brain trust on AI. He certainly seems to be in the thick of it, cozying up to Dorothy Patel. He's got Pat Collison, he's got Matt Friedman in, he's got a really stacked roster that people that know what's going on at the cutting edge of AI, where the plateaus will be, where the investments will be made, the distribution of where different data center investments will be made, where the different bottlenecks will be. That's really key to the strategy.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a surprise that he was able to accumulate this much capital so quickly because, again, if you're Daniel Gross or Nat Friedman and you want to allocate to a manager that deeply understands AI, you're probably better off finding a incredibly intelligent 23-year-old that was at a lab that can then deploy capital for you against all these different trends.
Basically, like 1.5 billion was like 1 researchers left memories? There just seems one.
Just one.
Just one.
Graham Duncan,
he's
he's a core LP in the fund as well.
Still got it, baby.
Of course he does.
Duncan.
Of course he does.
Absolute picker.
Cover of Colossus.
Covering Colossus. His strategy involves betting on global stocks
Let's give that for global stocks.
that stand to benefit from the development of AI technology such as semiconductor, infrastructure, and power companies, along with investments in a few startups, including Anthropic.
This is cool. This is cool. Look at this entire setup. There's a gong. There are 2 MacBooks. There's the Shure mics. There's the Wall Street Journal.
There we go. He told investors he plans to offset those with some smaller short bets on industries that could get left behind.
There's the TPP and hat. There's Diet Coke.
Situational awareness gained 47% after fees in the first half of
Visa ramp logo.
the year. Some other people said.
A lot of Saratoga bottles.
The S&P 500 gained about 6%, including dividends, while an index of hedge funds compiled by research firm Pivotal Path rose at 7%. And so he is crushing the competition. We'll get into some of the pushback here, but I am very excited for this. Aschenbrenner, a native of Germany, briefly worked as a researcher at OpenAI before being pushed out. It was very interesting. He called OpenAI's security measures egregiously insufficient, and they shared a document with external researchers about how OpenAI was doing security, and that violated company policy. So he was pushed out. I don't know how big that really is. Like, I don't know. Like, you should be able to talk to other people. Obviously, you shouldn't like violate company policy. Kind of weird to like talk trash about your own company's security things. And then also we're in this weird phase where like, okay, like you got habeas corpus when you talk about the security stuff, because like if you were saying if you were running around the building being like, we're all gonna get turned into paperclips, we're all gonna get turned into paperclips, and then it's like 3 years later and like nothing's happened, it's kind of like, come on man, like what were you doing? But if he was sounding the alarm about geopolitics, which is something he did in situational awareness, or AI psychosis, like there are a lot of things that are good to research in safety, and so his overall take was he benchmarked the entire industry and found that like less than 1% of AI headcount was going towards like safety and the alignment problem, and so he identified that as a problem to kind of go after. But now he's more focused on the public market. So Aschenbrenner, native of Germany, worked at OpenAI. He named situational awareness after his 165-page essay he wrote about the promise and risks of artificial superintelligence. He recruited Carl Schulman, and another AI intellectual who used to work at Peter Thiel's macro hedge fund as director of research. The firm's backers include Patrick and John Collison, the billionaire brothers who founded payments company Stripe, as well as Daniel Gross and Nat Friedman, whom Mark Zuckerberg recently recruited to help run Meta Platforms' AI efforts. Graham Duncan, a well-known investor who organizes the Sohn conference, is an advisor.
It's really a who's who.
It is. We're going to have way more situational awareness than any of the people who manage money in New York.
Wait for this line. He says, we're definitely going to do great on investing.
I love it. Confidence, baby. And another sign of the demand for Aschenbrenner's services, many investors agreed to lock up their money with him for years. Other recent launches include an AI-focused hedge fund from Value Aligned Research Advisors, a Princeton, New Jersey-based investment firm founded by former quants Ben Hoskin and David Field.
Ever really a former quant? Once a quant, always a quant?
That fund has $1 billion, and VAR also manages about $2 billion in other AI-focused investment strategies. VAR's investors have included the philanthropic foundation of co-founder of Facebook, Dustin Moskovitz, according to regulatory findings. Veteran hedge fund firms are entering the fray too. Last year, Steve Cohen tapped one of his portfolio managers at Point72 Asset Management, Eric Sanchez, to start an AI-focused hedge fund that Cohen planned to stake with $150 million of his own money. Assets of the fund, called Turing, after AI theorist Alan Turing, who's on the Mattis list, baby. We'll see if he can hold on in the next revision, which is coming soon. Turing,
a lot of people,
is up about 11% this year and gained 7% last month. So a little bit of a slower start for Turing compared to situational awareness that seems to be absolutely swinging for the fences. It is no surprise that the thematic funds are springing up to capitalize on the AI frenzy. In years past, hedge funds that specialized in the transition to clean energy and investing with an environmental, social, and corporate governance lens proliferated in response to client demand. Identifying a winning theme isn't the same as trading it well. Investors' taste can be fickle. Many prominent ESG hedge funds have either shrunk or gone out of business.
Right, but was it? I don't know. It's hard to say that smart money was saying that ESG was going to be such a winning theme.
Yeah, it was odd because it wasn't it wasn't some like underlying technological shift. It was more.
I think this is what streams look like usually, right? They're boring. They're boring. And what you then have got going for you is clips. Then you have a bunch of clips
Or
going
just
on
like
for you.
Values-based investing.
It was values-based investing, but it was also like predicated on more demand because everyone there.
Interesting. Interesting. Look into this. We cannot look into this. And let's see. If we open situational awareness and we ask, by the way, even just this is really good. This is really good. You can see the future first in San Francisco with the past year. The talk of the town has shifted from $10 billion compute clusters to $100 billion clusters to $1 trillion clusters. Every 6 months, another zero is added to the boardroom plans. Behind the scenes, there's a fierce scramble to secure every power contract still available for the rest of the decade. Every voltage transformer that can possibly be procured. American big businesses gearing up to pour trillions of dollars into a long unseen mobilization of American industrial might. By the end of the decade, American electricity production will have grown tens of percent from the shale fields of Pennsylvania to the solar farms of Nevada. Hundreds of millions of GPUs will hum. The AGI race has begun. We are building machines that can think and reason. By 25, 26, these machines will outpace many college graduates. By the end of the decade, they will be smarter than you and I. We will have superintelligence in the true sense of the word. Along the way, national security forces not seen in half a century will be unleashed, and before long, the project will be on. If we are lucky, we'll be in an all-out race with CCP. If we are unlucky, an all-out war. Everyone is now talking about AI, but few have the faintest glimmer of what is about to hit them. NVIDIA analysts still think 24 might be close to the peak. Mainstream pundits are stuck on the willful blindness of it's just predicting the next word. They see only hype and business as usual. At most, they entertain another internet scale technological change. Before long, the world will wake up. But right now, there are perhaps a few hundred people, most of them in San Francisco and the AI labs, that have situational awareness. Through whatever peculiar forces of fate, I have found myself amongst them. A few years ago, these people were derided as crazy, but they trusted the trend lines, which allowed them to correctly predict the AI advances of the past few years. Whether these people are also right about the next few years remains to be seen, but these are very smart people, the smartest people I have ever met. And they are the ones building this technology. Perhaps they will be an odd footnote in history, or perhaps they will go down in history like Szilard and Oppenheimer and Teller. If they are seeing the future even close to correctly, we are in for a wild ride. Let me tell you what we see. Wow, that is good. Parting thoughts. I remember the spring of 941 to this day. I realized then that a nuclear bomb was not only possible, it was inevitable. Sooner or later, these ideas could not be peculiar to us. Everybody would think about them before long, and some country would put them into action. And there was nobody to talk to about it. I had many sleepless nights, but I didn't realize how very, very serious it could be, and I had then to start taking sleeping pills. It was the only remedy. I've never stopped since then. It's 28 years, and I don't think I've missed a single night in all those 28 years. Physics Nobel laureate and author of the 1941 British government report on the inevitability of an atomic bomb, which finally spurred the Manhattan Project into action. Before the decade is out, we will have built superintelligence. This is what most of this series has been about for most people I talk to in SF. That's where the screen goes black, but the decade after 2030s will be at least as eventful. But by the end of it, the world will have been utterly unrecognizably transformed. A new world order will have been forged. But at last, there's a story. That's a story for another time. We must come to a close for now. Let me make a few final remarks. AGI realism. This is all much to contemplate, and many cannot. Deep learning is hitting a wall, they proclaim every year. It's just another tech boom, the pundits say confidently. But even among those at the SF epicenter, the discourse has become polarized between two fundamentally unserious rallying cries. On the one end, there are the doomers. They have been obsessing over AGI for many years. I give them a lot of credit for their pre-science. But their thinking has become ossified, untethered from the empirical realities of deep learning. The proposals naive and unworkable, and they fail to engage with a very real authoritarian threat. Rapid claims of 99% odds of doom calls to indefinitely pause AI, they are clearly not the way. On the other end are the EACs. Narrowly, they have some good points. AI progress must continue, but beneath the shallow Twitter shit posting, they are a sham. Oh wow, I know this word. I know this word. A lot of people say that. Dilettantists who just want to build their rapper startups rather than stare AG in the face. They claim to be ardent defenders of American freedom, but can't resist the siren song of unsavory dictators' cash. Whoa, whoa! But can't resist the siren song of siren song of unsavory dictators' cash. In truth, they are real stagnationists. In their attempt to deny the risk, they deny AG. Essentially, all we will get is cool chatbots which surely aren't dangerous. That's some underwhelming accelerationism in my book. But as I see it, the smallest people in the space have converged on a different perspective, a third way, one I will dub AGI realism. The core tenets are simple. Superintelligence is a matter of national security. America must lead. We need not to screw it up. We need to not screw it up. We're rapidly building machines smarter than the smartest humans. This is not another cool Silicon Valley boom. This isn't some random community of coders writing an innocent open source software package. This isn't fun and games. Superintelligence is going to be wild. It will be the most powerful weapon mankind has ever built. And for any of us involved, it will be the most important thing we ever do. America must lead. The torch of liberty will not survive. By the way, let me. Leopold, Wall Street Journal, let's see. Whoa, did somebody just post the entire thing? I don't know, but okay. Feature in Wall Street Journal, baby. Comp AI. Inside the high-flying life of actor, tech entrepreneur, stadium-filling musician Jared Leto. Wait, what? I'm looking for Leopold, and what is this showing me? Leopold Aschenbrenners. Outperformed basically every mainstream hedge fund YTD, and he's running 1 billion plus of capital, by the way. The Gulf billionaires and pension funds are watching this. Capital management will soon become an activity exclusively done by chronically online Zoomers. Wow. Situational awareness gained 47% after fees in the first half of the year. One of the people said in the same period the S&P 500 gained about 6%, including dividends, while an index of tech hedge funds compiled by a research firm Pivotal Path gained about 7%. The native of Germany briefly worked as a researcher at OpenAI before being pushed out. He named situational awareness after the 165-page essay he wrote about the promise and risk of artificial intelligence. He recruited Carl Schulman, another AI intellectual who used to work at Peter Thiel's macro hedge fund, as director of research. The firm's backers include Patrick and John Collis and the billionaire brothers who founded payments company Stripe, as well as Daniel Gross and Nat Friedman, whom Mark Zuckerberg recently recruited to help run Meta's effort. Graham Duncan, a well-known investor who organizes the Sohn Investment Conference. Graham Duncan, okay. I was like, I've heard that name before. And then I'm like, yeah, Sohn, right. We remember that. We did this in Montreal where we looked into Graham Duncan, his entire thing. I think, so Dia Browser has this entire skill on Graham Duncan, where Graham Duncan has, he's basically has laid out a framework for how to evaluate people. I believe that's what it's about. It was very interesting. And Sohn Investment Conference is also interesting. I believe you need a password to open that website. I remember that. We're going to have way more situational awareness than any of the people who can. We're definitely going to do great on investing. We're going to have way more situational awareness than any of the people who manage money in New York. Wow. It's hitting hedge funds to 23. Leopold. Zero Wall Street experience raised 1.5 for his San Francisco fund. Situational awareness backed by Stripes, Collis and Brothers and other tech heavyweights. Investors even locked up their capital for years. His playbook load up on AI winners, semiconductors, infrastructure, power, and short the sectors AI could leave in the dust. First half 25 returns 47% after fees. He's not the only one cashing in. Princeton-based value-aligned research advisors launched an AI fund in March and is already at 1 billion assets under management. Steve Cohen's Point 72 spun out Turion, now over 2 billion, run by PM Eric Sanchez with 150 million of Cohen's own money in the mix. This is what he's holding as of Q1. Intel, Broadcom, Onto, Nick Carter. Escaping the permanent underclass. Intel, Broadcom, Onto Innovation, EQT Corporation, Coreweave, I'm hearing a lot about Coreweave. Vistra, Modern Manufacturing, Core Scientific, Constellation Energy, Applied Digital, an AI influencer, Iron Talon. An AI influencer with no previous professional investing experience tried his hands at stock picking last year and now is from Situational Awareness. Manages more than 1.5 billion. For this and articles that will be reposted after the bull market ends, and all the signs were there. My discretionary equity basket is just Ashton Brenner copy trading, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Portfolio. So Intel, yeah, something interesting is happening with Intel. 45% of its portfolio is call options in one stock, the MAO. That's a quirk of how 39s are reported. That's the notional value of the shares controlled by the option, not the premium paid. Especially bizarre or maybe smart, what do I know? It's overweight because that it's the nominal value of call options he's holding. There's this great stock called Coreweave, or the Weave for short. Coreweave. Okay, we cannot just ignore this. What is Coreweave? The AI hyperscaler for GPU cloud computing. Okay. Coreweave is a US-based AI cloud computing company specializing in GPU infrastructure built to support artificial intelligence workloads and large-scale high-performance computing. 2017 initially is a crypto mining firm. Coreweave. Yeah, because I've heard of Coreweave. Okay. Crypto mining firm. Coreweave pivoted to cloud GPU services after the cryptocurrency downturn, leveraging its inventory of GPUs to provide scalable compute resources for AI developers and enterprise clients. Multiple data centers across the US and Europe is known for offering priority access to the latest NVIDIA GPUs. H100, GB200 is recognized for high-speed, large-scale AI and graphics or workload support. Interesting. This just reminds me. I have to send this one thing to a friend now. Okay. Business model: Coreweave primarily makes revenue by renting GPU compute capacity to tech giants and AI startups on an hourly instance basis, with most of its income coming from major clients like Microsoft, Meta, IBM, Cohere. Technology platform: Coreweave's infrastructure is Kubernetes native, tailored for large complex AI jobs, with their mission-controlled software allowing clients to manage and monitor GPU performance. Strategic relationships: the company's close partnership with NVIDIA ensures it regularly offers the latest high-performance chips to its customers, with NVIDIA holding a reported 5% stake. Coreweave is considered among the leading AI hyperscalers, competing with major cloud providers like AWS, Azure, and Google, but by both focusing solely on AI workloads, it claims quicker processing and lower prices in the niche. High asset-backed debt and concentration revenue in a few large customers have made Coreweave a focal point in the AI infrastructure industry's financial debates. Very interesting. Wait, what is happening? Yes. Parting thoughts. The torch of liberty will not survive Xi getting AGI first, and realistically, American leadership is the only path to safe AGI. That means we can't simply pause. It means we need to rapidly scale up US power production to build the AGI clusters in the US, but it also means amateur startup security delivering the nuclear secrets to the CCP won't cut it anymore. And it means the core AGI infrastructure must be controlled by America, not some dictator in the Middle East. American AI labs must put the national interest first. We're monitoring the situation. Interesting. We need to not screw it up. Recognizing the power of superintelligence also means recognizing its peril. There are very real safety risk, very real risk this all goes awry, whether it be because mankind uses the destructive power brought forth for mutual annihilation, or because Yes, the alien species we are summoning is one we cannot yet fully control. These are manageable, but improvising won't cut it. Navigating these perils will require good people bringing a level of seriousness to the table that has not yet been offered. As the acceleration intensifies, I only expect the discourse to get more shrill, but my greatest hope is that there will be those who feel the weight of what is coming and take it as a solemn call to duty. What if we are right? At this point, you may think that I and all the other SF folk are totally crazy, but consider just for a moment, what if they are right? These are the people who invented and built this technology. They think AGI will be developed this decade, and though there's a fairly wide spectrum, many of them take very seriously the possibility that the road to superintelligence will play out as I have described in this series. Almost certainly, I've gotten important parts of the story wrong. If reality turns out to be anywhere near this crazy, the error bars will be very large. Moreover, as I said at the outset, I think there's a wide range of possibilities, but I think it is important to be concrete. And in this series, I've laid out what I currently believe is the single most likely scenario for the rest of this decade, because it's starting to feel real, very real. A few years ago, at least for me, I took these ideas seriously, but they were abstract, quarantined in models and probability estimates. Now it feels extremely visceral. I can see it. I can see how AGI will be built. It's no longer about estimates of human brain size and hypotheticals and theoretical extrapolations and all that. I can basically tell you the cluster AGI will be trained on, and when it will be built, the rough combination of algorithms will use the unsolved problems and the path to solving them, the list of people that will matter. I can see it. It is extremely visceral. Sure, going on and leveraged long NVIDIA in early 23 has been great and all, but the burdens of history are heavy. I would not choose this. But the scariest realization is that there is no crack team coming to handle this. As a kid, you have this glorified view of the world that when things get real, there are the heroic scientists, the uber competent military men, the calm leaders who are on it, who will save the day. It is not so. The world is incredibly small. When the facade comes off, it's usually just a few folks behind the scenes who are the live players, who are desperately trying to keep things from falling apart. Right now, there's perhaps a few hundred people in the world who realize what's about to hit us, who understand just how crazy things are about to get, who have situational awareness. I probably either personally know or am 1 degree of separation from everyone who could plausibly run the project. The few folks behind the scenes who are desperately trying to keep things from falling apart are you and your buddies and their buddies. That's it. That's all there is. Someday it will be out of our hands, but right now, at least for the next few years of mid-game, the fate of the world rests on these people. Will the free world prevail? Will we tame superintelligence, or will it tame us? Will humanity skirt self-destruction once more? The stakes are no less. These are great and honorable people, but they are just people. Soon the AS will be running the world, but we are in for one last rodeo. May their final stewardship bring honor to mankind. Bruh. The project. We must be curious to learn how such a set of objects, hundreds of power plants, thousands of bombs, tens of thousands of people marched in national establishments, can be traced back to a few people sitting at laboratory benches discussing the peculiar behavior of one type of atom. Wow. I find it an insane proposition that the US government will let a random SF startup develop superintelligence. Imagine if we had developed atomic bombs by letting Uber just improvise. By letting Uber just improvise. Okay. It's a delusion of those who have unconsciously internalized our brief respite from history that this will not summon more primordial forces. Like many scientists before us, the great minds of San Francisco hope they can control the destiny of the demon they are birthing. Right now, they still can, for they are among the few with situational awareness who understand what they are building. But in the next few years, the world will wake up. So too will the national security state. History will make a triumphant return. As in many times before, COVID, World War II, it will seem as though the United States is asleep at the wheel before all at once the government shifts into gear the most extraordinary fashion. There will be a moment in just a few years, just a couple more 23 level leaps in model capabilities and AI discourse where it'll be clear we are on the cusp of AGI. So we are definitely talking about the leaps, and there were massive leaps in 23. In 25 right now, we are again seeing a massive leap, especially with ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT is the mainstream product, and that's where leaps are visible. with X, where Twitter also leaves are visible. Like today, they launch a new feature where any image that you see on Twitter, you can long press on it, and there's an option that, hey, turn this into a video, and then it will turn that into a video. It is actually a beautiful feature. It is a very interesting way of getting more and more people to use Grok. It's great. It's great. I think Grok has kind of figured out how to. They have the distribution. They have. They are. They are. I mean, it's everything. It's the user experience. It's the distribution first of all. Number two is the user experience, and number three is technology. The technology is really good. Like less than a minute, you have a really good AI generated video, and it's pretty good. And now they're also working on the sound. It's not just video; it's also sound, which is crazy. Where it will be clear we are on the cusp of AI and superintelligence shortly thereafter. While there's a lot of flux with the exact mechanics one way or another, the USG will be at the helm. The leading labs will voluntarily merge. Congress will appropriate trillions for chips and power. Coalition of democracies formed. Startups are great for many things, but a startup on its own is simply not equipped for being in charge of the United States' most important national defense project. We will need government involvement to have even a hope of defending against the all-out espionage threat we will face. The private AI efforts might as well be directly delivering superintelligence to the CCP. We will need the government to ensure even a semblance of a sane chain of command. You can't have random CEOs or random non-profit boards with a nuclear button. We'll need the government to manage the serious safety challenges of superintelligence, to manage the fog of war of the intelligence explosion. We will need the government to deploy superintelligence to defend against whatever extreme threats unfold, to make it through the extraordinary, volatile, and destabilized international situation that will follow. We will need the government to mobilize a democratic coalition to win the race with authoritarian powers and forge and enforce a non-proliferation regime for the rest of the world. I wish it weren't this way, but we will need the government, yes, regardless of the administration. In any case, my main claim is not normative, but descriptive. In few years, the project will be on. Outcompete PhDs in raw problem-solving smarts. The size of military technology, delayed for at least a year. The United States' most important national defense project. Shake up the military balance of power. A sane chain of command for superintelligence. Have the power to literally coup the US government. Imagine if Elon Musk had final command of the nuclear arsenal, or if a random non-profit board could decide to seize control of the nuclear arsenal. The civilian uses of superintelligence. Security. Safety. Stabilizing the international situation. The project is inevitable, whether it's good is not. Quebec government, a secret pact between Churchill and Roosevelt to pool the research to develop a nuclear weapon. Quebec. Huh. The latter might look like Atoms for Peace. The end game. See you in the desert, friends. Reunion of atomic scientists on the 4th anniversary of the first controlled nuclear fission reaction in Chicago. The intelligence explosion will be underway by 2030. We'll have summoning superintelligence in all its power and might. Whoever they put in charge of the project is going to have a hell of a task to build AGI and to build it fast, to put the American economy on wartime footing, to make hundreds of millions of GPUs, to lock it all down, weed out the spies, and fend off all our attacks by the CCP, to somehow manage 100 million AGIs, furiously automating AI research, making a decade's leap in a year, and soon producing AI systems vastly smarter than the smartest humans, to somehow keep things together enough that it doesn't go off the rails and produce rogue superintelligence that tries to seize control from its human overseers, to use those superintelligences to develop whatever new technologies will be necessary to stabilize the situation and stay ahead of adversaries, rapidly remaking US forces to integrate those, all while navigating what will likely be the tensest international situation ever seen. They better be good, I'll say that.